At the long, candlelit table in the backyard, Patricia Whitfield rose to give a toast.
To my husband, Michael. 40 years of marriage, and everyone always asks, "What's your secret?"
Her smile widened, but something behind her eyes turned sharp.
The secret is, Michael has been, how should I put this, useless.
The garden fell silent. Every guest froze, their smiles flickering out like candles. Michael didn't flinch. He simply watched her, his face unreadable.
Passive might be the word. 40 years, and he's never once taken charge of anything that mattered.
His daughter caught her brother's eye, her expression pleading. Neither of them dared to speak.
She laughed, a brittle sound, and raised her glass higher. But we love him anyway.
Michael took a slow sip of water, his hand steady. The faintest shadow of a smile crossed his lips.
He's just there, breathing, existing, but never really contributing.
The silence that followed was absolute. Michael's son dropped his gaze to his plate, swallowing hard. She flicked her hand toward Michael, as if waving away an inconsequential thought. Michael pushed back his chair. The scrape of wood on stone sliced through the silence.
Thank you for that honest toast, Patricia. You've always been forthright.
He sat back down, picked up his fork, and began cutting his steak as if nothing had happened. Guests exchanged furtive glances. Cutlery clattered too loudly in the stifling quiet. The cake was wheeled out, candles flickering in the night breeze, but nobody sang. Patricia smiled too brightly, waving at the candles as if they were a celebration. The party stumbled forward, but the joy was gone. Even the string lights seemed to dim. Guests broke into small clusters, voices lowered, as if afraid to disturb the tension.
Dad, are you okay? That was brutal, even for Mom. I am fine, sweetheart, really. Don't worry about me.
His gaze drifted across the yard. Patricia stood with Linda, laughing with a victor's ease.
Honestly, Linda, someone had to say it. 40 years of that. I earned the right.
She has no idea what's coming, not a clue.
8 months earlier, Michael sat alone in his study, the computer screen the only light. Credit alert. A home equity line of credit opened in your name. Amount, $400,000. His hand froze over the mouse. He read the words again, the number burning into his mind. Back at the party, Michael watched Patricia, the memory sharp as glass. His smile never wavered. That night, he picked up the phone and called the bank's 24-hour line, his voice barely steady.
I didn't open any loan. There has to be some mistake. I've never taken a HELOC.
The representative confirmed the account was active and suggested a fraud investigation. A meeting was set for the following week. A week later, Michael sat in a glass-walled office across from David Thompson, the bank's fraud specialist.
Mr. Whitfield, I've pulled the original documents. The signature matches yours, but take a look.
He slid the paper across the desk. The signature was cramped, rushed. Michael stared at the loop of the M that wasn't his. The forensic analysis would later confirm it, a deliberate forgery. The slant, the pressure, the hesitation at the fenth, all wrong.
Patricia. He'd watched her sign his name on checks for decades. The shape was hers. Who opened this account? Who walked into this bank and signed my name?
The account was opened by your wife, Patricia Whitfield. She presented your identification.
Michael left the bank, his mind churning, but he wasn't helpless. He hired a forensic document examiner. He handed her the loan documents. Under magnification, the forgery was unmistakable. The report's conclusion: signature a deliberate forgery. Pressure and stroke pattern do not match known exemplars. The funds were traced in full to a boutique account. The owner, Linda Hartman, Patricia's sister.
Linda, the boutique that was bleeding money. Patricia had been frantic about it for months.
He remembered a call from months ago. Patricia's voice low and certain.
Don't worry, Linda. I'll handle it. I always do.
Michael drove home. Through the front window, he saw Patricia on the phone again, laughing. He stood in the darkened doorway, unseen. She was laughing with Linda, so carefree.
He would gather every scrap of proof, and when the moment came, she'd never see it coming.
He met with a sharp divorce attorney, laying out the forgery and the loan. She told him to document everything. Michael obtained the full forensic report, then photographed the shuttered boutique Linda had been bleeding dry. He placed every piece of evidence into a wall safe behind the family portrait. At home, Patricia only grew more dismissive. She gestured sharply at him across the kitchen.
Don't just stand there. We have the party to plan. Or do you expect me to do everything?
She was already on the phone with the caterer, her voice dripping with condescension.
You have no idea what's coming. Keep laughing.
Late that night, he drafted an email to the bank's fraud department, scheduling it to send automatically the morning after his birthday. The calendar on his desk had a single date circled in red, his 65th birthday. Everything was in place. He just had to endure a little longer. In the dead of night, Michael signed the irrevocable trust, sliding the house beyond Patricia's reach. He locked the signed documents inside the wall safe, then replaced the family portrait over it.
You are wearing that to your own party? Honestly, Michael, you look so dowdy.
He called David Thompson to confirm the plan. The bank would call Patricia the morning after the party.
We'll flag the account first thing. When she answers, we'll ask about the lawsuit. She'll have no warning.
Perfect. Let it all come crashing down on her the same morning.
The calendar on his desk showed the date circled in red. He was ready. He retrieved the folder from the safe and set it on the kitchen table, the 3 documents inside. Late that night, he stood before the bedroom mirror, meeting his own gaze. One more day.
Tomorrow, the woman who called me useless will learn exactly how useful I've been.
The birthday morning arrived. Patricia darted through the house, barking orders at the caterer and the florist. In the backyard, Michael quietly watered the gardenias. The hose was steady in his grip.
You are watering plants? The guests will be here in 3 hours, and you are watering plants?
I've done everything I needed to, Patricia.
The first cars rolled up the drive, the yard filled with chatter and clinking glasses. Michael greeted each guest warmly. Patricia swept among them like a duchess, laughing too loudly, accepting praise for the decor. Linda arrived, offering Michael a thin, tight smile. She kissed his cheek as if nothing was wrong.
You both have no idea what's sitting on the kitchen table.
As the guests settled, Patricia rose and clinked her glass with a silver spoon.
40 years ago, I married a man who, well, let's just say Michael is reliable. But let's be honest, reliable isn't exactly a compliment after 40 years.
The guests froze. A flash of a different scene bled into the lamplight, Michael's hand gripping a gold pen. In the memory, he signed the irrevocable trust, each stroke a quiet declaration of war.
He never advanced, never fought for anything. I carried this marriage on my back.
Another flash, the forged signature, strained and false, lying on a bank desk like a line's will finish naturally. Her daughter reached out a trembling hand, trying to stop her. Patricia waved it away.
I am just being honest. Someone has to say it.
Her son dropped his head, the shame not his own, but burning just the same.
Honestly, Michael has just been useless. There, I've said it.
In the dark of his study, the scheduled email pulsed once and disappeared into the future. He was ready.
So, to Michael, I suppose, happy birthday.
A few glasses rose, but most stayed on the table. The scrape of a chair covered the silence. Michael lifted his glass, smooth and soundless. For 3 seconds, he held her gaze. Then he set it down. She forced a laugh, high and brittle. Her eyes shot to Linda, who offered a tight, complicit smile. The cake arrived, candles trembling in the night air. Someone started singing, but the tune died in the salt breeze. Michael ate his cake in measured bites. The fork never wavered. Not once did he look at her. Patricia leaned toward Linda and whispered something that made them both smirk. Guests scattered into the dark. By 10, only Michael's children lingered, their faces pale and tight.
Well, that went well, don't you think?
Tomorrow, she'd see.
After the party, Patricia slept soundly, a thin smile lingering on her lips. Michael sat in the study, the glow of his phone confirming the email had been sent. He opened the folder one last time. The fraud report, the divorce filing, the trust deed, all in order. He set the folder on the kitchen table, a silent time bomb for the morning. Dawn came early. Michael brewed coffee and waited.
Morning, Michael. Still think my toast was a little harsh?
I know you were just being honest.
Before she could reply, the phone rang. Patricia picked it up with a practiced, breezy voice.
Mrs. Whitfield, this is David Thompson from First National Bank. I am calling about the lawsuit your husband filed.
Her hand tightened on the receiver. The coffee cup trembled beside her.
What lawsuit? I don't know what you're talking about.
The fraud lawsuit regarding the $400,000 HELOC opened in your husband's name. We've been instructed to contact you directly.
The words hit her like a physical blow. She turned slowly toward Michael, her lips parting. Michael lifted his coffee mug, took a slow sip, and set it down without a sound.
Mrs. Whitfield, were you aware that this loan was taken out?
I don't know what you are talking about. I have to go.
She fumbled the receiver back onto the hook, then swung around, eyes blazing.
What lawsuit? What fraud? Michael, what have you done?
He said nothing, just tilted his head toward the manila folder in the center of the table.
Why don't you have a look?
Patricia ripped the folder open, her fingers trembling so badly she nearly tore the paper. Confidential fraud investigation regarding home equity line of credit. Amount $400,000. Behind it, a photograph of the forged signature. The loops and slant were unmistakably hers.
Keep reading. It gets better.
This is ridiculous. I didn't sign anything. You must be confused.
You took out a $400,000 loan in my name to save Linda's failing boutique. The forensic report left no doubt.
Her mouth opened and closed. The air left her lungs.
Linda needed help. I was going to pay it back. You have to understand.
You forged my signature. That's fraud. And you did it while calling me useless.
She sank into a chair, the fight gone. The paper trembled in her hand.
I was going to tell you. It was a temporary thing. Linda was desperate.
You forged my signature. That's not temporary, Patricia. It's a felony.
Tears spilled down her cheeks. She reached for his wrist, but he pulled back.
Linda's boutique was failing. She would have lost everything. I had to help.
And you humiliated me in front of our children, our friends, for 40 years. That was your gratitude.
Why didn't you say something sooner? If you knew, why wait?
I was building a case, 8 months of it. Every signature, every transfer, every lie.
The depth of his planning finally struck her, the trap so complete.
You can't do this to me. I am your wife.
You stopped being my wife the moment you treated me as a tool.
Michael slid the top document across the wooden table. Patricia flinched as if the paper itself could cut.
This is a copy. The original is with the bank and the police.
The fraud report detailed the loan amount, the account number, and the forensic examiner's conclusion. She saw the analysis. Inconsistent pen pressure, a shaky F. The word forged stamped in red. She grabbed the edges to rip it apart, but Michael's hand closed firmly around her wrist.
It's too late. The bank is already processing the lawsuit.
What do you want from me, Michael? What will make this stop?
His hand moved to the next document in the folder, steady and unhurried. He paused, letting the silence hammer against her chest. Then he slid the second page toward her, slowly, the paper hissing across the wood. Her eyes fell on the heading, Petition for Dissolution of Marriage. She blinked, as if the words might rearrange themselves.
Divorce papers, filed 2 months ago. Effective immediately.
You are leaving me? After 40 years? Because of some words I said at a party.
You left me long ago, Patricia. You just didn't notice.
I was angry. People say things they don't mean. You are overreacting.
Useless. Passive. Just there, those were the words you used last night, in front of our children.
I didn't mean it. Not like that. I was just trying to be funny.
You meant every word. You've meant it for years.
She lunged forward, her hands grasping for his shirt, her wedding ring catching the light. He stepped back, his expression untouched, his coffee still warm on the table. Without a word, Michael slid the final document from the folder, the paper heavy with notary seals. It was the deed of transfer, the house now held in an irrevocable trust in his name alone.
The house? You took the house? You can't do that. It's my house too.
You used it as collateral for a fraudulent loan. This house belongs to me now.
Patricia's coffee cup toppled, brown liquid spreading across the scattered papers like a stain.
You planned this all along. Every moment of the last 40 years was just you, waiting.
Smart thinking, right?
The words she had used the night before to dismiss him now came back like a slap. Patricia stared, her mouth open. The air in the room felt vacuumed out. He picked up his untouched coffee and took a slow drink, the morning light framing his silhouette.
Please don't leave. We can fix this. We'll talk to the bank. I'll pay it back.
There's nothing left to fix, Patricia. You used me for 40 years. It ends today.
She clung to his sleeve. He pulled free without effort, the fabric slipping through her fingers.
And if you try to fight this, Linda will face charges right alongside you.
I am sorry. I am sorry for all of it. For the toast, for the loan, for everything.
I know you are. You are sorry you got caught.
He turned and walked toward the door, his footsteps echoing on the hardwood.
You'll be hearing from my lawyer.
He picked up the small leather bag by the hallway and opened the front door. He stepped through without a backward glance, the latch clicking shut behind him. Patricia crumpled into the nearest chair, her sobs raw and ragged in the silent kitchen. The divorce petition lay face up among the chaos, its cold legalese blurring through her tears. She lifted the paper with trembling fingers. Then, unbidden, her own voice rang in her mind.
Useless, passive, just there, honestly. Michael has just been useless.
She snatched her phone from the counter and dialed Linda, her fingers clumsy and desperate.
Patricia, what's going on? The bank called me too. They're asking about the loan.
What have you done, Linda? Everything is ruined because of you.
Linda sputtered, but Patricia cut the call and threw the phone onto the table. She stumbled to the window and pressed her palm against the cold glass. Michael's car was a shrinking dot. She watched until it vanished into the morning light, then slid to the floor, weeping. He drove without a destination, his expression calm, the morning sun slicing across the windshield. The motel was modest, clean. He paid in cash and took the key. In the room, he set his leather bag on the chair and unzipped it slowly.
It's over. I am free.
He crossed to the window and looked down at the city, decades of weight sliding from his shoulders. Then he sat on the edge of the bed, pulled out his phone, and found his daughter's name.
He needed to hear her voice before anything else. I am okay, sweetheart. I'll explain later. Just needed to hear your voice.
He ended the call, and a small, genuine smile touched his lips. Standing at the window again, he watched the dawn fully break and felt, for the first time in decades, utterly at peace. She stayed on the floor, the cold tiles seeping through her robe, her eyes raw and swollen. She crawled to the counter, found her phone among the scattered papers, and dialed a lawyer.
I need help. My husband, he's filed for divorce and there's a fraud charge. Can you stop him?
The voice on the other end was blunt. With the evidence against her, she had no case. She ended the call and let the phone slide from her hand, tears spilling fresh. His spilling fresh. Her eyes fell on the wedding photo on the shelf, the frame still bright with false gold. She picked it up, the glass cold against her trembling fingers. She saw his face from the night before, calm, unreadable, a man who had already broken free. With a cracked sob, she hurled the frame across the room. It hit the wall and shattered. She sank back onto the floor among the debris, the silence of the house pressing down like a verdict. Some weeks later, Michael stood in a small sun-washed apartment, a watering can in his hand, a peace lily on the windowsill, its leaves glossy, the soil dark with moisture. His phone buzzed. David Thompson's name lit the screen.
Michael, the lawsuit is proceeding smoothly. The bank has frozen all related assets. You are in the clear.
Thank you, David. I appreciate everything.
He hung up and set the phone down, the last loose thread pulled tight. He looked out the window, the sunset painting the sky in streaks of amber and rose. A genuine smile crossed his face, unforced and quiet. Some men wait decades for the truth to come out. Michael Whitfield waited 40 years, and when it did, he was ready. He closed his eyes and let the last warmth of the day settle on his face.